Hi guys, Mr. Scrayback here. Sorry I couldn't be in class today, but I wanted to try and give you the best experience I possibly could for your first day of science class. Now this video is both for Earth and Space Science as well as Fundamentals of Chemistry. The syllabuses are very much similar and the grading policies and everything else are very similar as well. So in Google Classroom right now, you will see the following all linked on introductions. So we have the syllabus, we have teacher and student introductions, and the get to know you survey. We're going to talk about those first three in this video, and I'm going to go over your next off-campus assignment in a second video. So let's go ahead and get started. So for this class, you can go ahead and open up that syllabus and take a look at it as we walk through together. For this particular course and for Fundamentals of Chemistry and Earth and Space Science, the syllabus goes over my contact hours as well as office hours, times that you can be coming to see me. This is all, areas that you can either reach me during Google Meets, or you can come in if you happen to be inside the building. So 7:15 to 7:30, I'm usually rolling in around that time. If you need to come and ask a quick question, then that is certainly something that you can do. Block 4 is my prep this quarter, so that's a really good time where you can come and get Google Meet if you're at home and you need some help, or if you're in the building, you happen to have a study hall or a learning center or something else. Those are all times that you can be getting extra help on assignments if you happen to be lost, or you need a little bit more instruction, or you just wanted to kind of clarify a couple of things on an assignment. Okay. Overall, the course objective for both Fundamentals of Chemistry and for Earth and Space Science is to focus on the 8 science practices. And we're going to go over those in a second video. But throughout those 8 science practices, we are going to be using chemistry or Earth and Space Science, depending on what course you're taking, to kind of get at the process of science and how you do science. Because oftentimes science is seen as a whole bunch of facts and stuff that you have to memorize. And that's not really what science is. Science is a process of doing and discovery and answering questions. And we're going to talk about that process this quarter. Okay? For this course, okay, we're not going to be having any kind of book. Everything's going to be posted on Google Classroom. We're going to be using Edpuzzle every once in a while, as well as the Kami extension that goes onto Chrome. So if you don't have Kami, that is something that you're going to have to add. I will have a video on how to do that in Google Classroom if you need some help with that. But bringing your Chromebook to class is imperative. If you do not have a charged Chromebook when you enter this building, or into this classroom, I cannot help you complete the work. This class is completely paperless. I will not accept any paper copies of any assignments, and if you do choose to do something on paper, which is an option, you will need to take a picture of that assignment in order to get it onto Google Classroom. The only work that will be graded is the work that is on Google Classroom. So make sure that you are familiar with how to take a picture of your work if you choose to do things on paper. The classroom join code is also on your syllabus. If you haven't already joined the class, I did send out emails to every single student that was on Infinite Campus and had an email address. So if you happen to not have an email address, or you were just recently added to the course, have somebody look up the syllabus, have one of your classmates look up at the syllabus and tell you the join code. These are the 2 join codes for Earth and Space Science. The join code for Fundamentals of Chemistry can be found in the same area on the syllabus linked on that Google Classroom. If you need the join code, feel free to email me and I will get it to you or add you to the course that you need to get added to if you are not there by the end of the class today. Because everything we do is on Google Classroom, so you got to make sure you're signed up for the class. And you need to be checking Google Classroom every day that school is in session, whether that's off campus or in the building. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit more about work expectations in a second. So Some of the content is listed in the syllabus as well. Fundamentals of chemistry is going to look a little bit different than earth and space science, but it is listed on the syllabus. So take a moment and read that over when you get a chance. Okay? During the class, we're going to be watching some videos, we're going to be doing some class discussions, we're going to be doing short answer responses as well as long answer responses. There are going to be times where we're going to be doing labs in class. When we do those labs, you're most likely going to be wearing gloves as well as the mask as you're supposed to. And that's all so that way we can be touching materials that may have been touched by somebody else. And I do clean things in between when we're doing those labs, or I try and make sure you're using materials that did not come into contact with the previous population of students. So we're being very careful with those labs to make sure that we are not sharing any kind of germs or things like that. But you got to make sure that your gloves stay on during those labs. In addition to other safety precautions, so we have the masks, we have the gloves. If we are doing a lab that requires eye protection, okay, you will have sterilized goggles, and it's important that those goggles stay on the entire time during the lab until I tell you to take them off. If you happen to have long hair, days that we're doing labs, you want to be able to tie your hair back so it's not in your face. And closed-toed shoes. Probably won't be an issue with winter rolling around, but it needs to be said. Because in case we drop any kind of beaker or something like that, we don't want broken glass in between your toes. That would be no fun. So, in addition to those types of activities, all right, discussions will happen in class. I will frequently ask you guys questions and to answer questions, and it is very, very important that you participate in that discussion, that you are part of that discussion, especially if you are a remote student. If you are a remote student, I do expect that you are involved in the conversation. If I ask the class a question, I might call on you to respond, or I might call on you to say, hey, do you agree with John? Do you agree with Jill? What do you think about that question, person at home? And I don't want to get the 5 minutes of silence before I get a response. That can be very frustrating when we're trying to get as much work into a class period as possible, both for the class, for you, for me, for everybody. So be involved in that conversation. If you want to type your answer, that's fine. But you can be unmuted and respond to questions that are asked of you. So if you are a fully remote student, be aware that you are expected to be part of the classroom on the days that you are signed in. Okay? Grading and due date. So I want to talk about this a little bit because this was a point of confusion last quarter. Okay? Assignments will be graded on a point-based value. So you can see on syllabus I have things like classworks are graded somewhere between 10, 20 points sometimes. Okay? Homeworks can be smaller, they can be bigger. Those can also be between 10 and 20 points. And then assessments, things like tests and CER responses or labs, those are all considered assessments and will typically be around 50 points, sometimes even up to 100 points, depending on how big the unit was. So if you are a student who is remote, let's say, you got to make sure that you're logging in with your appropriate cohort. So I posted a video on that. If my name's Jack A, I know I need to be logging in and in the Google Meet on cohort 1 days. Cohort 2 days, I do my off-campus assignment, okay? If my name is Jill Z, it's the opposite. I log on cohort 2 days and I do my off-campus lesson on cohort 1 days. So in Google Classroom, you are going to be seeing tags. So you might see something like classwork 1.1, and then there'll be some kind of title for the lesson, and then it might say something like in class. This means that this is an assignment that is done in the building for students who are in the building, or this is an assignment that is done on Google Meet with the rest of the class if you are a remote student, okay? You will also see assignments labeled as off campus. So you might see something like classwork 1.2, some kind of lesson title, and it'll say off campus. That is an assignment that you are expected to be completing on your own, and there's no need to log into Google Meet if you are supposed to be working on an off-campus lesson. Okay? So, let's say I am a student who is working off campus. Take a look at the calendar here. So let's say, we're just starting class up today, and it's Friday the 13th. Okay, so we are right here, Friday the 13th, which is I believe a cohort 2 day. All right. So if this is a cohort 2 day, I am working on something in class, and that in-class assignment is supposed to be completed by the time I leave the class. Sometimes that might happen, sometimes we might run out of time. If we run out of time, you are still expected to complete the assignment. On Monday, that following Monday, that is an off-campus assignment for me. I don't have to log into my Google Meet because I already logged in on Friday the 13th, or I was in the building. On the 16th, I am expected to be doing one of these off-campus assignments. That could be an Edpuzzle video, that could be an article I have to read, that could be some other separate assignment that Mr. Sprayback has set up on Google Classroom, labeled off-campus. Both of these assignments are due the next day I'm in the building. So my Friday the 13th assignment and my Monday the 16th assignment when I was not in the building, both of those assignments are due on the 17th for me, regardless of what Google Classroom says. One of the things I need you guys to understand is that Google Classroom is set up for both cohort 1 and cohort 2, meaning both cohorts are in the same Google Classroom. So due dates might look slightly different, but you as the student need to understand that the in-class assignment that I did that Friday and the off-campus assignment I did that 16th or that Monday is due the next day my butt is in the seat, or the next day I'm supposed to be logged in onto Google Meets if I am a remote student. Okay? So you should be thinking of that in-class lesson and that off-campus lesson as a set, and they're both due the next day I'm in class. It is very important, ladies and gentlemen, that you understand that this course happens every day, whether you are in the building or off campus or fully remote. You cannot, I repeat, you cannot pass this course by doing no work on off-campus days. Now, we all make mistakes and things happen, and sometimes we forget assignments, and there are situations that pop up. But if your mindset is that off-campus days, I don't have to be doing any work, I'm not in the building, you will not pass this course. And both of these courses are required for graduation, so you will have to take them again. So just keep that in mind on those off-campus days, and that you are doing your work, and that you are being diligent about getting that work on those off-campus days completed. Okay? So that kind of goes over due dates. For other expectations, like I mentioned before, you're going to follow all lab safety rules. There is a lab safety contract posted on Google Classroom that you want to make sure is signed by your parents. We'll talk a little bit more about that next week. And for the rest of today's class, for your in-campus assignment, I want you guys to be completing your teacher and student introductions presentation. So this is just a simple presentation, and every class gets them, Earth and Space, as well as Fundamentals of Chemistry. This is a chance for all of us to kind of learn about one another, especially me for you, because I haven't met you guys yet. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to have one of these slides, and it looks like there's a couple people that have already done it, which is great. Okay? I want to have you guys tell me a little bit about yourself. So in this assignment, all you're going to go ahead and do is post a picture of yourself if you feel comfortable doing so, okay? And then some of your interests, some of your favorite foods, desserts, musics, things like that, just so I can learn a little bit about who you are. So you can see, you know, like I said, Mr. Scrayback, I love playing Dungeons and Dragons. I play different board games with my wife and friends. I love cooking. I love food. I like trying new foods. So, you know, this is a little bit about me. And I would love to hear from you guys and who you are to get to know some of your interests. Since we're going to be moving so fast, I just want to get to know who I am teaching this quarter. Okay? In addition to completing the teacher and student introductions, there is a quick get to know you survey. That is a form that's on Google Classroom that you guys can be taking a look at and filling out. And then your off-campus lesson is going to be a separate video on identifying the scientific practices. And that is a video that is going to be posted separate from this one in the video screen. So I will see you guys next week. Sorry I couldn't be in class. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. And looking forward to starting Earth and Space and Fundamentals of Chemistry with you guys. Bye.